Hey everybody, it's your girl Tanya, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Books and Brown Liquor. And this video is my February wrap up. Did you guys read any good books this month? Do you have any good reads you want to recommend? Well, I am about to talk about... There goes Scout. I'm so sorry. Scout says hi. Ugh. Say hi. Scout says hi. She ain't read nothing. All she did was do what she's doing. Meow and purr. All right, there's enough of that. Okay, so after being rudely interrupted by Scout, let's talk about books. So this month I did 6 months. Oh wow, okay. This month I read 6 books. I started a 7th, but I did not finish it, so I will include that in next month's wrap up. So, moving on. The first book for February, I feel cat hair on me. The first book for February was No Exit by Taylor Adams. All right, the book was good. I enjoyed this book. I gave this, I think, 4.5 or maybe even a whole 5. I forgot. Okay. A girl is traveling back to Utah through the Colorado Rockies, and she has to pull over because the weather is really, really bad. So she stops at a visiting center until the storm passes. And while she is outside trying to get signal, she discovers a little girl has been kidnapped in the back of a van, and this kid is being kept in an animal cage. Darby, our main character, she decides she is going to intervene. She is going to get involved, and she gets all the way involved. And I'm not going to give it away, but it was like an action-packed thrill ride. So, as some of you know, as I have mentioned in previous videos and on my Facebook page, they made They made a Hulu movie. So there is a film adaptation of this book. It was not the best. I didn't hate the movie, but what irks me is when a victim has multiple opportunities to get away and it slips through their hands. And they kept to the script for the most part, but there were like small details that were changed. It wasn't the worst movie, but of course the book is always better. Okay. It wasn't the best, but it was, I was like, all right, cool. It was okay. All right. Moving on. The next book by the same author, Taylor Adams, is Our Last Night. This book was ghost hunter, kind of. Basically, the main character is Dan. He's one of those people that is a ghost hunter. I watch those stupid shows. They go to haunted locations and try to get evidence of paranormal activity. So the book starts out with Dan purchasing a haunted firearm from Russia called the Mogen Nazar or something like that. This weapon has a very dark history. Basically, everyone who comes in contact with this weapon ends up dying by way of suicide. And he decides that he is going to purchase this gun to see, are the stories real? The weapon is a legend. Okay, there's stories about it going back hundreds of years. So he, for some reason, decides he wants to know if this is true. I enjoyed this book. All I'm going to say is what he was looking for, he found. Period. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was creepy and fast-paced and kind of a thrill ride. So yeah, that was cool. The next book for February was Every Single Secret by Emily Carpenter. For me, this was like a lukewarm 3. I feel like it had the potential to be a really good story. I do feel like parts of it dragged. So we're following a character. She's in a relationship. What's her damn name? Her name is Daphne. Excuse me, I just had coffee. The brown liquor is for later because I have to drive in a few minutes. But anyway, Daphne is in a relationship with this guy who they each have their own secrets. She has a secret from her childhood that she does not talk about. He got a whole bunch of secrets. Bring it back. So he decides that he talks her into going away to a retreat for therapy up in the Georgia mountains. away from civilization. So she goes to support him. She does not believe in therapy because she don't want to tell nobody nothing. Okay. So they get to the mountain retreat. Stuff starts getting weird. The other couples that she met on day one, all of a sudden they're nowhere to be found. That's your first clue. So stuff is going really weird. When we get toward the end of the book, she finds out who her fiance really is. Okay? And it's a lot. He's like, there was a part in the book where he was like, you know, once you find out everything about me and you know who I really am, then we can really be together. Because you're just like me. No, we're not. There ain't nobody like you. Like, I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was interesting. It wasn't my favorite book though. It was just okay to me. Like a 3, whatever. Moving on. The next book was Kindred by Octavia Butler, the late great Octavia Butler. I swear I always say, I feel like she was ahead of her time, okay? This book was written in 1979. It takes place in 1976 / the 1800s / slavery, okay? Dana is celebrating her 26th birthday in LA. You know, she's just gotten married. They move into their new home and it's her birthday. And all of a sudden she is snatched through time and location. She wakes up and she finds herself in Maryland in 1815. A cat hair, sorry. In 1815 to rescue a little boy by the name of Rufus. And she's snatched back time and time again whenever Rufus is in trouble or whenever his life is in danger, because Rufus is actually a distant relative. Rufus is a plantation owner's son. And at some point in time, once he's an adult, obviously, he has a situation, because I can't even call it a relationship, we'll call it a situation with a slave woman. And then these are basically like the start of her family ancestry or whatever. So obviously going from 1976 to 1800s, she does not blend in with other Black people. They're like, you know, why do you talk like that? Why do you talk like a white person? Why are you dressed like a man? Because she's wearing, you know, pants. So she's just like, also she has this loyalty to Rufus because he is her relative. She knows she has to save his life, because if she doesn't save his life, it messes with the order of time, and then that could potentially threaten her own life. This is an interesting book. I feel like Octavia was ahead of her time. I feel like there are messages here. And I recommend this book if you have not read, and the thing is, if you haven't read anything by Octavia Butler, I think that this is a good place to start, okay? I've read some of her other books. I think my all-time favorite is Wild Seed, but that's a whole nother video. But this book, I recommend it. Octavia Butler, y'all. If you don't know, now you know. You're welcome, okay? All right, moving on. I think this was my favorite book of the month. The Shuttering by Anya Allborn. I loved this book. I love this book. It's not that, Scout. It's about maybe 300 pages and 300 something, like 350, I don't know, whatever. Takes place in the mountains of Colorado. 5 friends decide they are going to have one last hoorah in this very lovely cabin. Very secluded, very, very nice cabin though, very nice place. And unbeknownst to them, there is a threat looming in the woods that surround the cabin. They have no idea that while they're chilling by the fire and drinking wine, that people are being hunted and eaten by creatures that run in a pack, and they're very aggressive, okay? This book was very descriptive, very gory, lots of blood, lots of action. So once you get started, like the book opens up with a man running for his life. Like everything I love about horror is in this book. I enjoyed this. I think you get the point. This is a 4.5 for me. Love this book. So Anya Allborn. Like I said before, when I read a book by an author and I love it, I look for more of their work. So immediately following The Shuttering, I read The Bird Eater by Anya Allborn. This was the absolute creepiest book I've read in a really long time. This book was kind of terrifying. So it is about, essentially in a nutshell, it is about a haunted house. We're following a character by the name of Aaron Holbrook. He returns to his childhood home, and at the time he's like going through a difficult time in his life. So he's like experiencing a loss, he's grieving, and he's like battling addictions. His life is like basically at the bottom. So he decides he's going to fix up his childhood home so he can sell it and move on with his life. What he does not know is that the house at the end of Old Mill Road is haunted as hell. And he unfortunately is the last to know, and he finds out in the most disturbing way, okay? This book is not your average haunted house tale. The energy of this house is so dark, and it's not subtle. It's not creaking, tapping. Did you hear that? This shit is like, yo, I'm here. You can run if you want to. But like, it's so good. It's creepy though. I actually read this book, and like for a few nights after, I was having really weird ass dreams. I literally was laying in my bed, and I swear I heard my closet door opening by itself. I dreamed this, but in my mind, it felt so real. It actually woke me up out my sleep. I remember laying there in the dark, waiting for the closet door to open. It was just so weird. And I believe that the last thing you watch or the last thing you read before going to bed, I believe that sticks in your head. And I think that contributes to having weird ass dreams. I'm always watching some creepy shit or reading some creepy shit before I go to bed. So that's what I get. That's what I get. I read something that thrilled me, that terrified me. And I also had dreams that terrified me. So that's what I get. And the next story I'm reading, the ride continues. Okay. So that concludes my February book wrap up. If you read any of these books, feel free to share. I would love to hear your comments, yay or nay, whether you liked it or not. So I wish you all good reading, and thank you for watching. Bye.